All right, guys. Well, yeah, but yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, I was saying, let me start recording, but I am recording now, so you can go ahead. I'm also recording. All right, guys. Welcome to another episode. I'm Orlando, and I'm Omar. We're the Smart Bros. This smart take. All right, y'all. This is episode 13. We're back in it. We had a little bit of time off with the way the schedule was set up. We had Thursday game against the Seahawks. So then we had kind of a mini bye, 10 days off in between the next game against the Eagles. But before we get to Philly, we're going to go back and recap how we played against the Seattle Seahawks in a very close game. It was, what are
Yes.
your thoughts on it?
Let me just start off by saying Dak Prescott, Dak Rain Dakota Prescott, man. I'm just glad that's my quarterback. Uh I saw like this thing on Twitter. It was just like because he was mic'd up. Yeah, I'm a big body. I know that's right. You feel me? Uh, he didn't like truck Tariq Woolen, but Tariq Woolen couldn't take him down. They ended up going out of bounds. Yeah, I'm a big body. Yeah, I'm a big body. You got to let these little boys know. There's not no playing around with you. So yeah, I'm just gonna say he played the game and he played it well. As he's been doing. So I'm just glad he's playing how he is. So, like you said, close game, 141-35. I can't sit here and tell you I wasn't in where I was watching. I was nervous because if you watch the Cowboys over the last however many years, the way games like that go and how they start, penalties, goes down to the wire, close game, those sometimes be the games where, oh, it's one of those days, huh? And so, what's it called? Go down first drive, don't score, stall out at the 2 yard line. They go down first, dang near first play, touchdown on Bland. I was like, oh man, here we go. But the offense picked it up. And the defense didn't just play absolutely horrible, but Deron Bland, he didn't have the best game. Sometimes it happens, but like, ugh, that was rough. That was definitely rough. It felt like they were targeting him, and every time they targeted him, it was a catch, long catch, touchdown, or PI. And so, but hey, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt because it happens sometimes, even though it doesn't happen that often or that bad. I'm gonna hope he can bounce back against the Eagles because we're gonna need him for sure. But that's just how you missed this guy right here, man. Because having him on their number one receivers can, you know, that it slows that down. People can say this is just like Diggs last year. You can say what you want about Diggs, but nobody ever targeted Diggs like that. He never gave up to 100-yard receiving to any receiver, and he only gave up like 3 touchdowns all year. Bland gave up almost three. I think Bland gave up 3 touchdowns last game. So it's just like, I get it. He gave up some yards at times, but overall, I like those kind of wins. You could say, oh, it was just the Seahawks. Oh, they're 6-6 now. But before that, the game was you got to win these kind of games. They're winning teams. So I'm not really hearing the narrative that they're 6-6 now. But so I was happy with the team. To my predictions, I said Dak would throw for 250 and 3 touchdowns. Threw for 299 and 3 touchdowns. I wanted him to get to that 300 mark. I mean, 299 is still amazing. Still, hey, 299, 3 touchdowns, no picks. I said CD would go for 85 and a touchdown, went for 116 and a touchdown. Let me just say this now: 4-88 is good football. 4-88 is good football. When they're clicking, I don't see a duo that's really better, honestly. As well as I don't really know much of a defense that has stopped it when they have it going. I said Cook for 65 and a touchdown. He only had 45 and a touchdown, but hey, that touchdown was much needed. I don't know why they thought Bobby Wagner could guard him across the middle. That was very interesting defense by them. It is what it is. Shout out B Cooks. They're really finding a way to get him a lot more involved, and I like that. I thought we'd have a tight end touchdown, of course, and Ferg is playing like a top 10, maybe even a top 5 tight end right now. Like, I don't know too many tight ends that are playing better than him or but he's playing just as well as any tight end in the league, I feel like. He had 77 yards and a touchdown. You can never really predict the tight end stats because, but I do know I can always predict the tight end touchdown just because that's how our offense goes. And Ferg had the touchdown of the game. He had been talking, him and Jamal Adams have been talking trash back and forth. And let me go say this on the record now. I'm sure, and Orlando can agree. Thank God we didn't get Jamal Adams a long time ago. Hey, don't get me wrong. In the moment, it felt like what we needed to do. And a couple years ago, Jamal Adams was that guy, but injuries and not that I'm just faulting him for injuries because it's not something you can really avoid, but what those picks that we would have had to give it up turned into, I'm glad we didn't trade him. We didn't trade for him, man. One of those picks ended up being CD. So, Jerry, good job by not doing anything. I thought TP would have. I had Turp and Tolbert going for 40 yards. They had 37. One had Tolbert had 17 yards. Turp had 10. I thought TP would have 74 yards and a touchdown. He had 68. He had 68 rushing yards, 83 yards total and a touchdown. So, go back to my bad. Gotta go back because Dak should have had 5 touchdowns throwing. CD dropped one in the end zone where he couldn't have put it anywhere else, right through his hands, as well as TP dropped a touchdown in the end zone and it hit him in his helmet, and then he ended up scoring after that. We ended up flipping it to him, but that's just boosting everybody's stats. I feel like so we gotta figure out a way to catch those. I thought Michael would have 2 sacks. He didn't end up having any, but he had the play of the game. Pretty much, yeah, he had the play of the game on defense when we needed him most. He stepped up. He got a crazy pressure, and forced Gino to throw it faster. But hey, shout out Gino, man. He had a great game. I didn't think he had that in him, and he came out firing all cylinders. So shout out him. I thought we'd have 5 sacks. We only had 1. Big Hank had a sack. I thought we'd have 2 picks. We only had 1 pick. Deron Bland, he's still continuing his pick streak right now. At least league in picks with 8. He still got cooked. So, but it is what it is. At least he got a pick. Not that makes up for everything that happened in that game, but it definitely helps. Let's say that. It definitely helps. I thought we would force a fumble. It didn't force a fumble. And I thought we went 40-17. And I got ours pretty much close. I said 41-30. They won 41-35, so I was only 1 point off, but I didn't think they had scored 35. But like I said, overall, pretty happy. I'm not pretty happy. Glad we got the win because we needed that. We're going through our gauntlet right now. Got our Eagles up next, so see what happens. How about you? How are you feeling about the game? What did you get right? What did you get wrong? Talk to me.
In terms of how I'm feeling about the game, it was a really hard fought game. Would have liked to see a lot more from our defense. Like you said, you touched on it. Deron Bland was definitely cooked chicken out there. They were doing whatever they could to get his guy the ball, whether it be DK, whether it be Tyler Lockett, whether it be Jackson Smith and Jigba. Deron just had a rough game, but like on the opposite side of this being a mini bye, we did have like 3 games in 12 days, I think it was, with the Thanksgiving game, the game before that, and so we're definitely on a tough stretch of games. So I kind of give the defense a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, feeling like they might have been a little tired. But I mean, the defense as a whole, up until the last 3 drops, wasn't too much. I wasn't.
They scored on
happy.
Every single possession.
Yeah, they didn't punt a single time. They didn't punt a single time. I was not very happy with the defense as a whole, not just Deron Bland, but I mean, in games like that, they stepped up when they needed to. Like we said, they scored pretty much every drive until the last 3. And I mean,
except for when he got the pick too. But yeah,
also,
and was that in the last 3? No, I think
no, it wasn't in the last 3. But we also didn't score off of that. That was one of the only times we didn't score. We went for it on 4th, and CD had another drop, which was obviously CD's playing amazing all year, but his stats could be even better if he could clean up all these drops. He's had probably about 5 or 6 all year that he should have just had back. But I mean, obviously you're not going to catch everything, but we like him to, some of those that are very like that touchdown. that he dropped, I can give him benefit of the doubt for that one. I don't know how Dak even got that ball through there, went through other people's hands. Defenders were all right there, so it was a hard catch. But that one on fourth down, even see, you said my bad. Like
He's
he's got to
probably
have that
thinking
one.
that's not getting there. He's probably that
Yeah,
touchdown. He's probably thinking that's not even gonna get here. So that's probably why he
right,
probably didn't even think about catching it for real. But you got to realize you got Dak Prescott at the helm. That's getting there.
right. But so obviously, like I said, he's been playing amazing, but there's been a few drops we'd like to have back. And then in terms of the offense, other than those drops, I feel like the offense was hitting on all cylinders. Our run game is a little left a little to be desired, but other than that, I feel like TP was running outside. He was running outside well. We were getting CD the ball in jet sweep. So I feel like the way that Mike has been calling our offense since the bye week, I mean, he's shown that with the change in our offense, that this is what we've shown that this is what we're capable of. So I'm just hoping that we can continue it. Obviously, there's a pretty big sample size on both sides of our having a bad offense and having a really good offense. So hopefully we stay with the game plan that's had our offense clicking. And in terms of my predictions, I predicted that Dak would throw for 14 and 4 touchdowns. Like you already said, he only had 299, 3 touchdowns. He missed out on 2, and then man, him having 299. Obviously, we won the game, so that's. But I would have liked him to get one more yard in the flow of the game. I wish that because there was some play calling at the end where people were kind of questioning it. It was our last drive. We ran the ball twice, and then it was third down. And instead of running the ball to keep the clock running, we threw a pass. Dak threw the ball to CD in the end zone, just trying to give his guy a chance and kind of put some points on the board. But in that position, obviously, like I said, I do want Dak to have 300 yards, but in the same sense, I want to win the game, and that play gave the Seahawks another chance to win the game. Obviously, our defense stepped up on the last play. You mentioned it, Micah got that pressure, but the real player that made that play, in my opinion, was DeMarcus Lawrence. Because even if Gino would have been able to complete that pass, Tank had already bumped the running back off it because it was a little screen that they were trying to run, and Tank had already bumped the Zeke Shabber. No, I think he was out, so I don't know who his backup was at the time, but he had bumped him off his route and was pretty much glued to him. So even if Gino were to be able to get that ball off if Michael wasn't there, that play wasn't going anywhere. So just want to give the defense as a whole some credit. And D-Law, he even on the drive before that, he had a huge fourth down stop. Fourth and one, they tried to run it. So, right. So I definitely think our defense stepped up when they needed to right at the end. Back to my predictions, I predicted that Tony Pollard would have 65 yards in the touchdown, and he had 68 rushing yards in the touchdown. He also had some receiving yards in there, but no. Yeah, he had 15 yards receiving, but I was almost right on the head with his rushing yards. I thought CD would have 110 in the touchdown. He had 116 in the touchdown. So again, almost right on the head. I thought that Brandon Cooks would have 80 yards in the touchdown. He only had 45 yards, but he did have a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. Both of those plays were huge. We needed every single point in that game.
Oh yeah.
I predicted that Gallup would have 45 yards in the touchdown. He finished the day with a whopping 0 yards, 0 catches, 0 touchdowns. I mean, we're touching on it every week, but I mean, it's at this point, it's like Michael Gallup's time in Dallas might be coming to an end. We appreciate everything he's done for us, but at this point, when you have Jalen Tolbert scrambling and getting up like on that play, that Jalen Tolbert's only catch was he had 1 catch for 17 yards,
Big
but
catch,
it was on that play where Dak was all but sacked, threw the dude off him completely, got and then scrambled, looking downfield. Jalen Tolbert found a way to get open, and it's plays like that are going to give Jalen Tolbert playing time. It's plays like when in the game before this against the Commanders on Thanksgiving where Jalen Brooks, Dak throws the ball I think it might have been to Tolbert, but Jalen Brooks ended up catching it off the deflection, and then those are the plays that are going to get people playing time, that are going to take those snaps away from Michael Gallup, because I mean, like we've said before, it just doesn't even seem like he's running the route.
Less.
He's playing less and less already, and then when he does play, it's like he's running routes and he's knowing with the knowledge of that he's not even going to get the ball. So I mean, we need more from him, and he just isn't getting it. So at the end of the day, we're gonna have to do what's best for the team. So until then, we're always gonna have hold out hope. We're always gonna wish the best for him, especially if when he's playing. We're gonna want him to do well, but until he does, we're just gonna. I mean, I guess we're just gonna be touching on this subject every week. But I predicted that Micah would have 2 sacks, and like you said already, he didn't have any sacks. But I think that's just because obviously he gets his pressures every week, but that's also just a credit to how well Geno was playing. Like you said, you want to give Geno credit. He played an amazing game, and he did. As well as just throwing the ball, just escaping the pocket, escaping sacks. I mean, Micah had him in his grasp a couple times, and he was able to get the ball out and to save the sack. So I definitely want to give Geno some credit there, but Micah was doing all he could. Obviously, he's still not getting holding calls. He's still fighting through double teams, triple teams. So obviously, we're gonna be happy with the production he's given. I predicted that we would have 6 total sacks, and like you said, we only had that one that Big Hank got. But Geno was escaping the pocket. He was putting our dude. He was being very mobile in this game and making it very hard for us to get him down in the backfield. I thought that we'd have a safety pick and a forced fumble, and Deron Bland got the only turnover of the game. And I think, like I heard on Sounds of the Sideline, and he got that one back in blood. Like we were saying, they were definitely targeting him. So to at least end the game with the interception is like that. Denzel Washington meme. He's like, I'm leaving here with something.
Oh yeah,
He wasn't gonna let them just cook him
I'm
all
from
game.
around the
So
way.
exactly,
Leaving here with something.
definitely want to give him a shout out for that, because a lot of players, they could have just felt down about themselves, completely just given up, and had an even worse night than he had. So props to him for keeping his head on and staying dedicated, I guess, and staying dedicated to just playing good football. I predicted that, and then the final score prediction, I predicted that we'd win 42-18. So I was almost right on the head, was off on our score by 1 point, but was not expecting our defense to give up 35 points. So, like I said, that could have been just because they were tired playing all those games in the stretch. So now after this rest they got, hopefully they can get back to form, because earlier in the season they were completely shutting teams out, forcing a ton of turnovers, and just making it harder for all offenses. So hopefully they can kind of get back in their groove. But that's the Seahawks game. That was a much needed win. We're now 9-3. And with this game coming up against the Eagles, I mean, with the Eagles losing to the 49ers on Sunday, at this point in the season, this game right here is for the number 1 seed in the NFC East. Obviously, if things could change with the way the rest of the season goes, but after Sunday, whoever wins that game will have first place in the NFC East. So what are your predictions? How do you think the game's going to go?
Well, let me first talk about the defense real quick, because they always say Dak's beating bad teams, or he only plays good against bad teams. But honestly, only the defense has been playing good against bad teams, or quote unquote bad teams, or whatever, not winning records. If you think about all the good teams we've technically played, and including the Cardinals, even though they're not good, put up 28 against the Cardinals, 40 against the 49ers, 28 Eagles, 35 of Seahawks. That doesn't get talked about enough. They need to step up when we're playing the good teams. Like, don't get me wrong, it's like they're allowing 28, 25 plus because they know we have Dak Prescott. And I don't like that. Make it easier for your QB. If you're gonna give up only 15 to the bad team, do that against one of the good teams. Because if he's gonna shoot 30, then you'll win 30-15. But don't make it to where we have to go win 30-29, 30-28. That makes it a lot harder. So I just needed to put that out there, because people trying to act. Go ahead.
I'm glad you said that, just because that's actually something I've been thinking about for a while now. Because like you said, that's definitely a narrative that's been placed on Dak and the offense, that we can only perform against good teams. Like, I've actually had arguments that unless our defense is shutting people out, getting turnovers, and kind of making it easier, then our offense can't really move. But now that, like you said that, and I've actually been thinking, I think it's actually the exact opposite. I think our defense. Obviously, it wasn't shown in this game, but in the game against those bad teams, I feel like our offense moving down the field, running up the score, that is what puts pressure on the other offenses to kind of try to keep up with us. And that's what puts our defense in the best position. When the team has to drop back and throw the ball, that's exactly what we want. We have our strength is our pass rush and our cornerbacks at this point. I feel like when they have to drop back, that gives Mike more time, DeMarcus Lawrence more time. And when Mike and DeMarcus Lawrence are putting pressure on those quarterbacks, that forces them to make bad throws, throw to people who aren't open, and that gives our corners and our safeties opportunities to take the ball away. So I feel like that narrative definitely needs to switch. I feel like, and even in the Seahawks game, it would have reigned true. But like I said, I feel like they were kind of tired, but that game went the way we would have wanted. We were putting up a lot of points offensively, and then defensively, we were making the other team drop back and throw the ball. We just couldn't get we couldn't get Geno down. So I mean, that's a credit to him. And then our cornerbacks were just a bit overmatched in this game. Now, another week they might be able to hold them better, but in this game specifically, they were kind of overmatched with the three-headed monster they got into Seattle. So I think definitely that narrative needs to flip, because if our games have shown anything, it's that our offense puts our defense in a better position to play well. But I didn't want to back to
my predictions. I said I'm gonna go ahead and keep going with what I've been doing. I'm gonna go with underselling. I'm gonna go Dak with 295 and 3 touchdowns. I don't think that's too crazy, especially for what he did last time we played him. I don't think 295 and 3 touchdowns were crazy. I think he could go well over that, especially because of how weak their secondary has been. And I don't believe it's going to be a running game for us, just because I'll give it to them. They're a great run defense, great D line. Don't get me wrong, they had Chris McCaffrey in a box until like late in the game, but at that point it's like we're tired. You can't keep a back like Christian McCaffrey from having a good runs all game. So I feel like they did a good job in the first half, but then it's like the secondary is where they got killed. I'm gonna go CD for 80 and a touchdown. I'm gonna go Cooks for 55 and a touchdown, a tight end touchdown, of course. I think only TP only have 50 yards and a touchdown, just because, like I said, he might get a couple good solid runs, so maybe to the outside. But I hope we throw early and often, just because that run defense is. Hey, I don't know. They have one of the best run defenses in the league, so I hope we don't I'm not gonna say just go away from the run early, but if it's not working, it's not working. Don't try to force feed. You have Dak Prescott as your quarterback. He can win you this game. So put the ball in his hands, or get play action involved. That way the play action can open up the run game. If you get the pass game involved, then that backs those linebackers, those DBs up a little bit, and then you can start trying to run. I think Michael will get a sack and a half. I think we'll have 3 overall sacks. I think we'll get a pick, because there was no turnovers last game. And then I think we'll force a fumble, but this time I think we'll recover. We had 3 forced fumbles last time we played them. They recovered all 3. That's not likely. The odds of you recovering 3 fumbles is just not likely. So I think the ball won't bounce that way this time. I don't think the big game of inches will happen again this time. I think we went 35-24. I just haven't been too impressed with the Eagles. Don't get me wrong, still a good team. Still, it's not like I'm saying they're a pushover, but I just think everything possibly could have went their way last time we played them, and I just don't think things like that is going to go again. As well as we're playing at home, we've been playing pretty well at home. 14 game win streak dating back to last year, so I really like us in this game, and I think Dak knows what this game means. Hopefully the defense knows what this game means. CD knows what this game means. Like, we have to win this game. This game is, a must win for us.
I agree 100%. And I'll start off by saying this will probably be something I say every game for the next probably 4 or 5. This is honestly probably the biggest game of Dak Prescott's career. I feel like these next few games might not mean quite as much as this one, but they're still important, gigantic games. But this one, with the implications of being the number 1 seed in the NFC East, giving us a chance to be the number 1 seed in the entire NFC, just the narrative that's been there
MVP.
all season that we can't beat good teams, that we can't beat the Eagles, that exactly like you said, Dak to be the MVP of the season of the league. I feel like a lot of those narratives are riding on this game and the next few games, but for this one first. So I'm thinking if we can, I know what Dak can do, and I've seen him do it, and I just need us to
And
continue to
honestly,
do
so have
that.
they, but you know how that
Yes,
gets.
exactly. My predictions, I'm predicting that Dak will throw for 320 and 4 touchdowns. I think that Tony Pollard will have 60 yards and a touchdown. Like you said, I don't think we'll be able to run that well. I feel like they're, like you touched on it, their weakness is definitely their secondary. They haven't held it, even with Darius Slay back there, because I can give Darius Slay props for being a good corner, but I'd have to agree with Debo Samuel and his critiquing of James Bradbury. Not let his words stay with him, but most people know how he feels about that, and I'd have to agree. I guess it's maybe just because I mainly only see James Bradbury play when it's against the Cowboys. So, and he's never had anything for CD, and that's even before he was on the Eagles. Even as a New York Giant, he had nothing for CD Lamb. So maybe he does well against other good wide receivers,
He got
but
all pro last year
yeah,
somehow. So
yeah, exactly. So I definitely think our wide receivers can beat their corners. There's, like we said, their secondary is their weakness, and right now our passing game is our strength. So I think that bodes well for us. I need our offensive line to absolutely step up, specifically Terrence Steele. He was the pretty much the weakest link, the only person
he's
really
been
giving up
all
pressures and
season.
sack all season, but it came to head and really showed his face in the first game against the Eagles. And
It's
like
not
you said,
already killed him.
everything went perfectly for them in that game, and we still had a chance to win. So, like I said, I don't think the chips will fall that way. I honestly don't even think it'll be a game of inches this time. I'll get to my final score prediction at the end of my predictions, but I just think with us playing at home, them needing every single thing to go right, I don't like even like I think if half the things don't bounce in their favor last game, we win that game pretty
Like
comfortably.
we don't got to
So
get all three. If we even got
exactly,
one of those, it could have changed the
exactly.
game. Like we even get, not even say we
If
need that touchdown. We get that 2-point conversion that Dak
literally,
carried. Like, come on now.
it was just so many things that went wrong for us. And like you said, us playing at home, being on a 14-game win streak, I feel like I really like our chances playing at home. But back to my predictions, I think that CD will have 120 and a touchdown. I think this would be, like I said, a gigantic game for our wide receivers. I think they will be pretty focused on CD. So I think that Brandon Cooks will lead the team in receiving this game. I think he'll have 130 and a touchdown, a tight end touchdown. Obviously, like you said, it's kind of hard to predict their stacks only because we use multiple. Hendershot will be back this game, so that opens up even more opportunities for our tight ends to get the ball. So yards wise, they could be kind of all over the place, but I'm gonna score a touchdown. I think that Micah will have a sack and a half this game. For like he with I think was no not yeah Nick Bosa said it in his his post game interview after the Eagles game that he kind of spelled out their game plan and said he was hoping the Cowboys were watching film because they obviously need the Eagles to lose again because they're also fighting for the number one seed, but he's right. If we can kind of mimic what the 49ers did, they kind of backed everybody up, only rushed four, kind of forced Jalen Hurts to sit in that pocket and throw the ball downfield and be a quarterback. And
And if
he
you want
struggled
this game,
heavily
you
in
got to
that
go
game.
outside and not coming
Right.
through these B gaps. It's just not happening.
Right. We're gonna have to keep I think our safeties over the top because AJ Brown and Devontae Smith are such deep threats, but kind of like back those linebackers up, force them to kind of not back them up, but keep them in the box that they know we're there, know we're trying to fighting against their run, fighting against those QB draws that they love to run. Make him be a pocket presence, make him be a pocket passing quarterback, and we should have success defensively. I think that we'll have 5 sacks total in this game. I think that, like I said, this last game we had a lot of pressure on Gino. He was just having a great game, evading our pressure, evading those sacks. So I think we'll be able to kind of turn that back up this game. I think we'll have 2 interceptions because it's been a while since Jalen Hurts has thrown an interception, and he's been he's been a
They
turnover
do.
machine this year. Yeah, I agree. He's definitely due for an interception coming up. I think that Deron Bland will get one just because I feel like teams will he'll be targeted more. He'll be targeted for the rest of the
It seems
season.
like we've been putting him on the ones too. So.
Right. Exactly. And I feel like maybe I don't know if that's obviously most of my football is Cowboys football, so I don't. And I've seen it also with Diggs. He didn't get quite targeted as much as Bland did, but I feel like whenever we have a cornerback that's getting a lot of picks, no one kind of believes in it. Everyone thinks that they're going to be the ones to kind of challenge that and kind of be the ones to expose him. And I got to give the Seahawks credit because for once they were the first ones that were even able to do that. Yeah, but Diggs, he kind of that was never really an option for them. They tried it, but it never really worked. So I think even teams will continue that. They will try to target. They will try to target Bland, but I think he'll come up with a pick, and I think we'll also have a safety pick, just because I feel like they'll have a lot of opportunities if we follow the 49ers game plan of making Jalen Hurts drive back and throw the ball. I think that we'll have a forced fumble in this game, and like you said, we'll actually recover this time because like we had 3 fumbles that they all just bounced right back into their hands, and that was huge for them. And like I said earlier, I don't think it'll be that much of a game of inches. I think we'll be able to win the game 38-17. Just the way our offense is, us playing at home, I really like our momentum in this game, and I feel like we can they needed a game of inches to win at home, and I feel like we just won't need that. So those are my predictions. And yeah, I don't want to say that. Yeah, but us playing at home and just kind of having that momentum, and they coming off a loss, us knowing what this game means to us, I definitely like our chances to win.
Yeah, I agree. Seems like we know what the moment is. We put our complete faith in Dak, and I think our defense will have a bounce back game. That's my main thing. I trust our offense, but I think our defense is gonna have a major bounce back game. And when they're playing like they can play, like that defense, it can be one of them ones. You feel me?
I
Like,
agree.
don't get me wrong, like they have the potential, they have the this and that, but sometimes they don't play like it. And for as long as I can remember, the offense has been. So, not that I want our offense to get saved, but do our offense a favor. Don't put us in a position to have to go down and score the last touchdown. Don't put us in that position. You don't put that in this position, we don't have nothing to worry about.
And I also I don't even want to kind of put that all on the defense because I've talked to my friends about it. It seems like for some reason, when our offense can score, our defense can't get a stop. If our defense is completely shutting the other team down, our offense can't get anything going. I feel like
You
it's
got to start
very
playing complementary football.
exactly. I was just about to say, I feel like it's very rare that we see another good team and play complementary football all around. But we've shown capabilities of that throughout the season, so I know we can do it. And before we get out there, I also want to give a quick shout out to Coach Mike McCarthy. He had just feeling some abdominal pain earlier in the week and had to have a emergency surgery. He had like acute appendicitis, I think they were saying it was. So they say he's fighting. He's going to be doing whatever he can to make sure he's there on the sideline Sunday coaching because and not only is he our head coach, he's our he's our play caller. We have also offensive coordinator, but he is the one calling plays. And since the bye week, our play calling has been nothing short of amazing. There aren't too many plays in that at this point of the season where I'm like, oh, what the heck was that? There's a couple still. Obviously, he's not going to be perfect,
Those
but
reverses we've had sometimes, like what?
yeah, but obviously it's not going to be perfect, but definitely wishing him a speedy recovery because we definitely need him on the sideline and we need him calling those plays for us and keeping our offense running.
No, yeah, I agree. I hope he is there for sure. Just like you
But
said, that'll. No, I was gonna say, and I was gonna send it to you. No, yeah, I definitely hope he's there. Been at the offense right, so hey, big game this weekend. Sunday night game. Waiting all day for Sunday night.
Right. And
I can't wait.
I
I'm excited.
like I've been saying, each week kind of has come true. Like those games where our schedule was a bit easy, Dak put up the stats. He got the wins. He did exactly what he needed. And now that our season is tougher, even if he doesn't have the stats, as long as he gets wins in these games, I feel like that's gonna that MVP narrative will be gigantic. Obviously, at this point, obviously we're biased, but I honestly don't think there's a quarterback playing better than Dak Prescott right now. I think he's head
Definitely
and
not numbers
shoulders should be
wise.
the MVP front runner. Just in turn, if we're gonna always, if it's a QB award and that's kind of understood, then it should be Dak Prescott. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but of course, now that Dak is playing like the best quarterback in the league, that you hear a lot of people fighting for Tyreek Hill, fighting for Christian McCaffrey, fighting for Myles Garrett or a defensive player, kind of saying, "Oh, well, maybe it shouldn't always be a quarterback." Well, no, let's not do that. If it's a quarterback award, if it's going to be a majority quarterback award, now that Dak Prescott is the best quarterback, we can't change it. I feel like maybe obviously it might not be the case, like that's not why, but it's very cool. I find it very convenient that now that Dak is about to be the best quarterback, or he's playing like the best quarterback, people are doing whatever they can to kind of bring up arguments for non-quarterbacks. But obviously the season will play itself out, and Dak can only control what he can control. Like he said, he's got the pen, he's got the paper, and he's the one doing the writing. And I can only agree with him and keep my faith. But like I
Hey,
said, that's
that
our
is
Eagles
another
predictions.
episode. Keep liking, keep commenting, keep subscribing, keep sharing. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Be back with another episode after the Eagles game for the upcoming game against the Bills, which is next Sunday. So, but we like I said, big game this weekend. I got faith in us. Take us out.
All right, guys, I'm Orlando.
And I'm Omar.
We're the Smart Bros.
And this is the Smart Take.